Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Stella, and in today's video we're going to be drafting, cutting and sewing the sleeve on the thumbnail. And I know it looks like a petal sleeve, but it's not. It's just an overlap sleeve with a little bit of alteration, and that's what we're going to be looking into. Now what you need is your basic short sleeve pattern, and I have mine already drafted, and the length of the sleeve is 9 inches. So go ahead and draft your short sleeve pattern. Now the next thing you need to do is to highlight the center of the sleeve and also to highlight your cap height line, and I have done that. Now from the cap height I'll come down by 2 inches and I will rule it across. And here we have it. So this line that I just drew is our new sleeve length. Now let's proceed with the alteration. So from the midpoint of the sleeve, I will go away from each of the sides by 1.25 inches. So I'll place my tape on the center line and I'll mark 1.25 inches on each of the sides. Now I'll go ahead and place my tape also on that center line and I'll come down by 3.25 inches and I'll make a mark there. You remember, from the center I marked 1.25 inches away, and on that center line also I came down by 3.25 inches. Now I will proceed to draw a horizontal line at the 3.25 inches mark. So it's just a little line and we will still proceed to measure it. Now I'll go ahead and highlight this line, and here we have it. Now I'll go ahead and measure 2 inches on each side of the line. Okay, so on this new line that I just drew, I will mark 2 inches on each of the sides. Now let's move down to our new sleeve length. So on that center line also, I'll mark 1.5 inches away from the middle line. So I'll place my tape there and I'll mark 1.5 inches on each side. And this is it. I just dotted that point. So we'll proceed with the connection of all these points. Now I'll come in with a slight curve and we're going to connect from the 1.25 inches that we marked away at the sleeve head. We're connecting it to the 2 inches that we have there, and I'll go ahead and flip my ruler to the other side, and I'm connecting from these 2 inches to the 1.5 inches that we have marked on the full length of the sleeve. So here we have it. Now pay attention that I made use of a slight curve. So at this point also, I'll come down by 0.75 inch and I will dot that point. So I will also use a slight curve to connect it to the side line. So I'll go ahead and connect it using a slight curve. Now emphasis on the slight curve because you don't need that line to be too curvy. So I'll go ahead and connect it, and here we have it. So this is it for one side of the sleeve. Now whatever you do on this side, you're supposed to repeat the same thing on this other side. So you can either take note of the numbers that you use, because this curve ruler has numbers, so you can take note of it. Here the curve ruler is resting on 32 to 44. Now I'll also flip it and take note of the numbers there. Okay, so that is one method. But another method is for you to use your tracing wheel, and that's what I'm going to be making use of. So I'll go ahead and fold the sleeve pattern into 2. Now I'll come in with my tracing wheel and I'm going to place my hand there, okay, and I'll trace these lines. Now kindly pay attention to the lines that I'm tracing. So I just traced out this part. Now I will move over to this other side so that I can finish up the line that we have around the sleeve head, and I'll also trace this line as well. So this is it. We are done with the tracing. So I can see the lines. I know you can't. Now I will proceed to highlight all the traced out lines using the French curve. Yeah. And here we have it. I have traced it out and highlighted the lines as well. So this is the sleeve pattern. Now I'll go ahead and come in with another fresh pattern paper All right, so remember that this is an overlap sleeve, so we'll need to trace out one side of the sleeve. Now at this point, you need to decide the side that you want to trace out. So I'll come in with the fresh pattern paper and I'll place it underneath. Now I'll come in with my tracing wheel as well, and I'm going to go ahead and trace these lines. But the first thing I will do is to pin down our sleeve pattern on the new pattern paper. So I'll go ahead and pin it down, and here we have it. I have the pattern pinned down. Now with my tracing wheel, I'll go ahead and trace these lines. Now kindly pay attention to the lines that I am pointing, because those are the lines that I'm going to be tracing out. So I'll go ahead and trace these lines carefully out, and here we have it. So I'm done with the tracing. Now before I take off the pins, I'll go ahead and trim off the edges of the sleeve. So this is it. I have trimmed the edges of the sleeve. Now I'll go ahead and take off the pins, and here we have it. I have taken off the pins. Now I'll proceed to highlight the lines that I traced out. I know it appears faint, but I can see it. So with my French curve also, I'll highlight the traced out lines, and we will proceed. And here we have it. So this is what I traced out. Now I will go ahead and cut it out. No. So this is it. I have it cut out. Now I'll go ahead and place it on the side that I traced it out from. All right. So this is it. Now I'll go ahead and cut the other side. So at this point, you need to take note of the part that you traced out and the side that you did not. So I'm cutting out the side that I did not trace out. But for better clarity, let's label. So the part that I traced out, I will label it as T, and the part that I did not trace out, I will just mark something like an X on it. I will also go ahead and mark on the lines that I will be cutting out. So pay attention to the lines that I just marked. Those are the areas that I will be cutting out. Now I will also mark this other end as well. So I'll go ahead and highlight the entire line that I will be cutting out, because you can't afford to make any mistake at this point. So I'm done marking the lines that I'm cutting. Now I'll proceed to cut out on these lines that I marked, and we will continue. Yeah. So this is it. I have it cut out. Now at this point, the part that we traced out, you don't need it anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and discard it. Now the part that we need is this other side that I marked. So this is the part that I had earlier traced out, okay, and cut. Now at this point, I'll be putting a cover button here. So this is it. We are actually done with the drafting. Now I'll go ahead and transfer this pattern to the fabric, and I'll be adding all my allowances. So I'll add 1/2 inch allowance all round, and I'll be adding 1.5 inches as my side seam allowance. You can also add more than that if you wish. Now note that I'll be adding the same allowance to each of the patterns. So I'll go ahead and do this, and here we have it. So I've added the allowances, as you can see. So I have my 1/2 inch added all round, and I added 1.5 inches side seam allowance. I repeated the same thing on the other pattern as well. Now let's move over to the joining process. So to join it, you're simply going to take one from each of the pattern. So you pick one from this side and you pick one from the other side, and you're going to join it along the side seam line. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate this using pins. Now you pick the second part as well, and I will also use my pin to join it along the side seam line. Now, if you're not going to line yours, it simply means that you're going to be cutting one of each, but I'm going to be lining it. So that's why I cut 2 of each one. So after I'm done stitching it, I'll go ahead and open it up this way, and I'll place them right sides facing each other, and we will go ahead and sew. So I'll place it properly. Now at this point, you will need to cross check to be sure that you have not pinned different sides together. So what this simply means is that you're supposed to have two sides from each pattern facing each other, as you can see. So they're supposed to match up when you place them together. Now I'll go ahead and stitch down on the lower part using 1/2 inch. So the top part is the area that we're going to be joining to the armhole of the dress. So we're going to leave that place open. The only place we're stitching is the lower part all the way, and we're going to stop at this other end as well. So I'll go ahead and stitch it on the lines that I just marked, and here we have it. I have stitched it down. So as you can see, I stitched down and I stopped at this pointed area. Now we'll go ahead and notch the areas. So for the notching, at every corner I will notch it in very close to the stitch, but I'll be careful not to cut the stitch. Now these pointed areas I will trim. So I'm basically trimming and notching. Now at this end as well, I'll go ahead and just notch it so that I can free those areas. So this is very important so that the moment you turn the sleeve is going to relax well. So I'll continue with the notching and trimming. And this is it. I'm done doing that. So I proceed to turn this to the right side, and I'll use a sharp object to push out all the pointed areas. So this is it. I have it turned. I have also pressed it flat. Now pressing at this point is very important because you need your sleeve to come out beautiful and clean. So this is it. Now I'll come in with the pattern paper so that we can refresh our mind with the style of the sleeve. So this is it. So I'll go ahead and keep the pattern paper aside, and I'll try to recreate what I just did on the pattern paper. So I'll go ahead and just place one side of the sleeve on top of the other this way, and we're going to be stitching on the top part. Now if you take a look at the style, you will see that it has a cover button, and I also went ahead to do my cover button, which I'll show us shortly. But first I'll pin down this area. So I'll pin the top part and I'll pin the points of the overlap, okay, just like we demonstrated on the pattern. So I'll come in with my cover button, which I have done. Now I'll be placing it at this very position on the sleeve. So when I'm done tacking it, I'll use the cover button to hold together this point. Okay, so this is it. Now I'll go ahead and join this to the armhole of the dress, and I'll show us what it looks like. Here we have it. I have joined it to the dress. Now you can see how beautiful this sleeve is looking. I love the way it came out, and I love the fitting on the dress. So I'll go ahead and overlock all the rough edges inside, and I will wear it on the mannequin. Now you can see that area that we joined, how beautiful it's looking. It's always necessary that you do an inseam finishing for some sleeves, especially this particular style, so that even if it's revealing on the dress when you wear it, it won't look rough. So this is it. We're done with it. I'll go ahead and wear it on the mannequin, and here we have it. This is a lovely dress. I actually made it and I wore it to my daughter's graduation, and I loved the compliments I got. It's simple, is beautiful. It gave me what I wanted, and I was happy doing this. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.